Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to all of us. We extend our warm welcome to the distinguished speakers, guests, summit participants, and viewers from all around the world. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Shanti Shamdasani. I am the co-chair of T20 for Global Health Security and COVID-19, and the founder and CEO of SIAC. And today it is my honor to serve as moderator of this plenary discussion. The title of today's session is Green Pharmacy and the Role in Supporting Global Health Architecture, presented by the T20 DEXA Group, CHAMS University of Indonesia or Universitas Indonesia, and Strategic ASEAN International Advocacy and Consultancy. In short, it's called SIAC. Before we proceed with the event today, Green Pharmacy's role in supporting global health architecture, we would like to deliver our warmest greetings to the honorable guests joining the session today, both offline and online. The Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Budi Gunadi Sadikin, today represented by the Director General for Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices, Ministry of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Andalusia. We also would like to welcome to the T20 lead chair, Prof. Bambang Brojonegoro, and other panelists for this session today, which I will be mentioning their names as we go into the event. Ladies and gentlemen, in this session we'll conduct a dialogue on green pharmacy and its role in global health architecture. The recent COVID pandemic has shown that the chemical-based medicines cannot cater to the need of health of the world. And there is a huge gap between the chemical-based medication and the green pharmacy, which is also in other countries known as Ayurveda, or TCM. In China, it's known as traditional Chinese medicine. In India, it's known as Ayurvedic medicine. And in Indonesia, we have seen many forms of herbal. But today, we are not talking about the whole herbal aspect of it. We are actually talking about green pharmacy, which have gone through the phytopharmaca processes, the clinical trial processes, and has successfully been pioneered by one of the companies in Indonesia, and it has been exported extensively. The green pharmacy fills a huge gap within the healthcare system where the chemical-based medicines could not fill. And today, during the panel discussion, we are actually going to discuss the role that India plays from our respected speaker, our panelist from India, and the role that Indonesia plays moving forward. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start the event by inviting our lead chair for T20 for Indonesia, Prof. Bambang Brojonegoro, to share his opening remarks with us. Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, the screen is yours.
Very good morning, esteemed speakers, ladies and gentlemen. The G20 presidency carries the theme, Recover Together, Recover Stronger. For the health sector, commitment, collaboration, and resource mobilization are needed to build global health system resilience. As stated by Minister of Health of Indonesia, we have to understand that resilience is a word that the world must embody in the current COVID-19 pandemic. It brings the powerful image of strength and speed in response and ultimately survival against the pandemic. It suggests the agility and ability to bounce back, the strength together even stronger than ever. Health system resilience is the bedrock of emergency preparedness and response. With health system resilience, essential health services can be maintained. To create a global health architecture to be more inclusive, adhere to the principles of equality, and respond to crisis. Together, we must enhance the capacity to expand health resources and manufacturing for pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. The world demands a new way of thinking about the health system, and we should not put our eggs only in one basket. As the world is still grappling with the issues around medical countermeasures for creating equitable access to fight COVID-19 remain, Indonesia has a great potential to developing green pharmacies called phytopharmaca to maintain the availability of efficacious and eco-friendly medicines and pharmaceuticals. Indonesia needs to support local industries to expand resources and production capacity of health products, especially of treatment and therapeutics. As the President has instructed the Minister of Health to facilitate the development of pharmaceutical and medical device industry in a natural direction, let's together support green pharmacy or phytopharmaceuticals as part of Bangga Buatan Indonesia's product. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, in this G20 opportunity, Indonesia needs to be a role model in the development of phytopharmaca, which we encourage as a green pharmacy initiative. This is very important for future healthcare because green pharmacy or phytopharmaca can be a way to build independence and national health resilience, especially for countries with limited production of medicinal raw material, so they still have to import. In addition, through draining the country's foreign exchange, imports of medicinal raw materials can cause a supply shock when an emergency occurs, such as COVID-19 pandemic, a war between countries, etc. The phenomenon of COVID-19 has opened the eyes of most governments. When supply problems of chemical-based drugs happen, green pharmacy with its herbal medicine comes to rescue and stand as a winner issue. Besides that, development of green pharmacy has a large industrial market in the future. From developing countries to developed countries, most of the population continues to use herbal medicinal products specifically to fulfill their basic health needs because pharmaceutical greens are reported to have high efficacy for the treatment of communicable and non-communicable disease and positive impact on the increase in disability-adjusted life years. Ladies and gentlemen, currently green pharmacy has received very good support. With a strong coordination scheme or pattern, Indonesia as the initiator of green pharmacy is expected to become a role model in the development of phytopharmaca together with the local healthcare industry as a backbone of healthcare delivery that provides a strong support system. In this regard, discussion on strengthening green pharmacy is very important. Through this forum, what we want to convey is a better understanding of how green pharmacy can play a role in supporting global health architecture, of course with joint effort or collaboration of all parties. We need to realize that we have an opportunity to strengthen and transform the health system. So let's accelerate our effort to recover together and recover stronger so we can protect the next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that speech, Prof. Bambang Brojonegoro. I think as Prof. Bambang mentioned that Indonesia should be the role model, and I think it is exactly what we are trying to do in the year of G20 chairmanship presidency in Indonesia, is actually pioneering green pharmacy. And for that, we would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. Raymond Chandrawinata. He's the biomolecular pharmacology expert, and he's also the abstract writer for the T20 Global Health Security and COVID-19 on green pharmacy. Dr. Raymond, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shanti Samdasani, co-chair T20 GHCH. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to acknowledge also the Minister of Health of Indonesia, His Excellency Budi Gunawan Sadikin, Also, Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, who just gave remark to us as the lead chair for T20 Indonesia. Also, Ibu Rizka, here as the Director General of Pharmacy and Medical Device, the Ministry of Health of Indonesia. Also, Professor Hasbullah Tabrani as the chairman of the T20 task forces. And then the panelists, Mr. Ignatius Warsito, the Director General, Dirjen on Chemical, Pharmaceutical and Textile Industry, Ministry of Industry of Indonesia. Also, Mr. Fadia Rajesh Koteka, Secretary of Ministry of Ayush from the Government of India, whom we are very, very thankful for your speaking before us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take the first round in terms of the green pharmacy, the concept of green pharmacy. Also give you some thought on the environment impact of the green pharmacy. So when we look into this green pharmacy, we have to look into the environment, the ecological perspective. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as Professor Bambang has alluded earlier, chemical drugs are very, very valuable to us. In fact, it's been shown in many studies that extends life, lower the mortality, increase survivability to the patients. So the enormous impact of the chemical product are there. And everyday use that we are doing now is actually based on chemical drugs. Now, bear in mind that there are also some excess baggage from the chemical drugs. For example, from the R&D manufacturing, especially distribution, consumption, even to the waste management, these type of drugs have some impacts on the environment. What kind of impacts do they have? Number one, there are some studies that there are some pharmaceuticals that has been included in food. So for example, many of the pharmaceutical waste materials comes into the soil and then suddenly it was taken up by the roots of the crops and some plants. And secondly, the pharmaceuticals also can leach into the drinking water. There are some parts of in the world that has been found that the chemical waste product, pharmaceutical waste product has been found on the drinking water even because they're leaching into the groundwater. And the other thing is, how can we manage the wastewater very clearly so that the human exposure to this pharmaceutical will be lower? Yeah? So essentially, that is the idea how pharmaceuticals can actually not only increase the survivability of human being, but also we need to decrease the human exposure from the waste treatment. So just an example, there's a contaminated water in Hyderabad, India. It was found in 2016, and Hyderabad is actually a part of the city in India in which many of the drugs are being produced at this moment. But yet we also have some problems in terms of the contamination coming from the production, synthesis of these products from the pharmaceuticals into the groundwater. But that is in India. How about in our country, in Indonesia? It turned out that we also have some paracetamol, a drug which already been used quite a bit in Indonesia, in the Jakarta Bay, for example. The Jakarta Bay, nicely as it is, already polluted by plastic, but also paracetamols, and we don't know yet any other pharmaceutical material that's been into the wastewater and going into the bay in the Jakarta. So this is something that we need to take into account, that the pharmaceutical, yes, they are very useful, but yet they also contaminate. The potential of contamination to the environment is also big because of production, because of the consumption. Now, in Indonesia, if you see here, if you look into the recent Southeast Asia statistics, we're actually occupying number 3 from the bottom. So this is, we look into the most environmental friendly country in Southeast Asia in 2022, we're number 3. So we need to increase this. We are even lower than Laos, Cambodia, a country which is neighboring to us. Yeah. So this is something that we need to put attention. Are we still want to contaminate the environment in a big ways, especially with pharmaceuticals, because we cannot, obviously when somebody is sick, they're prescribed by the chemical pharmaceuticals. Bear in mind that ecology is there, and bear in mind that ecology, this is something that we need to survive, we need to take care, we need to sustain in the future because of our actions using many chemicals for health, for many welfare causes, yet still we have to be careful about the ecology. We have so many systems that will actually lower down the effect of the pollutants, of the pharmaceuticals, of the chemicals into the groundwater, into the system, so that we are making sure that everything is actually can be used, but yet we have to make sure that they're not on the accumulated amount. Now, in order to do that, obviously, we need to bring a lot of the attention and also education to the community, to the people, so that we have, the goal is here is sustainable, of environmental sustainability. So we have to communicate many information, creating the empathy, so that we need to make sure that people really care about the environment. And also, we have to develop programs, many programs that we have to teach people about the environment. So that way it's human behavior affecting beliefs and values. Now, we've been talking about green pharmacy. The green pharmacy is actually a very, very good alternative for a country, any other countries, including Indonesia, India, everywhere. Because green pharmacy is coming from the earth, we have to go back to the earth. Green pharmacy not only improve the lifestyle of the patients, improve the health of the patient, but also increases the environmental friendliness. It adjusts the soil pH, improve water retention, for example, decrease the nitric oxide emission, then increase organic matter. So the idea here, green pharmacy is very environmentally friendly, unlike our counterpart, which is the chemical products, chemical drugs. It also absorbs many more greenhouse gases, which we know that destruct the environment. So green pharmacy is there with a very big promise. If we develop a good green pharmacy with good design, we will make sure that some of the production of the chemical product will be lowered down, and we use more of the green pharmacy. Obviously, plants, as we speak about, we live very harmoniously with plants, because plants help us in terms of the recycling of the CO2. The CO2 is very harmful if we digest it in a big amount. Our respiration can be damaged somehow if we increase the number of CO2 in our body. But again, with plants are very friendly organisms. So plants not only clears up the environment, but also it protects our health. We know more and more from our data that plants actually are very good, because in the beginning, we don't have chemical products. We don't have pharmaceutical from the chemicals, yet people are living very good life. If we hear, then people also have a very good survivability in the long days, in the old days, because their symbiosis, their life with plants. So for example, plants containing many secondary metabolites, but also can be used into pharmaceuticals, flavoring, agrochemicals, fragrances, even food, and so on, and it's very friendly to the environment. So the idea here is plants is actually it's acting not only on the health as a physiological level, but also deep into genomic level, into transcriptomic level, and so on. So the idea here, plants are not something that's not efficacious, as Professor Bambang Brojonegoro has already alluded. We have a lot of experiences that if we design the green pharmacy product very well, then plants can be even better, not only promotive preventive, but also into curative to the patients. Now, what kind of green pharmacy sources that we're talking about? Many of the product coming from the root and also the leaves, and somehow also the seed stem and so on. But we know that we have a product like roots, like ginseng in Korea, it's root. Our many curcuma base is root also. Yeah? And the leaves also, we are very thankful, because leaves contains many chemicals that can be produced into green pharmacy in the future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this green pharmacy obviously will have to follow the modern design of drug discovery process, and then it has to go through the testing in animals as well as human being. So in order to do that, we have to have some kind of type 1 of the randomized controlled trial, followed by meta-analysis. Otherwise, this green pharmacy product will not be used by the doctors, by the physicians, and will not into the guidelines. Because it's very important that if we make the green pharmacy into the mainstream drugs in the future, then it has to be gone through some kind of evidence, have to give some evidence via the controlled trial, randomized control trial, as well as meta-analysis and systematic review. And finally, it will go into a clinical practice guideline. So at the end, I would like to suggest this, ladies and gentlemen, as we speak about green pharmacy, we should be able, because the value chain doesn't come not only on the producer of the green pharmacy, but way back into the beginning in which the growers, the farmers, grow the raw materials for the green pharmacy. So when we're talking about green pharmacy used in a country in a big amount, who is going to get the benefits? Not only the manufacturer, not only the doctors, not only the patients, but also the growers, the farmers, the farmers who actually have the ability to grow according to good agricultural practice. And after the raw material has been produced, and we make the raw material using some processing in the GMP, and also into finished product, also in the GMP standard, and then we can go and use into the national formularium in a country like Indonesia, as well as going to the patients. But also a country can also export this and again benefits patients of other country. And all of this, we thank to the Green Pharmacy because they gave a lot of promise, and we gave a lot of hope for us to become a drug in the future. I thank you very much for this introduction, and thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Dr. Raymond. Very, very comprehensive outlay of the green pharmacy and the future role. Next, we would like to invite Mr. Roy Himawan. He's the Director for Medical Device and Pharmaceutical Resilience at the Ministry of Health of Indonesia. Mr. Roy will be bringing the speech from Dr. Andalusia Rizka Andalusia, Chair of Healthcare Working Group of G20, and the Director General of Pharmacy and Medical Devices from the Ministry of Health of Indonesia. Mr. Roy, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Madam. Distinguished participants, as the pandemic enters its third year, more than 5.8 million lives worldwide have been lost to COVID-19. Despite the scientific breakthrough of the COVID-19 rapid vaccine discovery, access to vaccines and other medical countermeasures remains highly inequitable. As of July 4th, 2022, we may see high-income countries have vaccinated 79.98% of the population with at least one dose, while low-income countries have only vaccinated 20.18% of the population with at least one dose. In 2021, health ministers of G20 countries declared that COVID-19 immunization must be recognized as global public goods. That implies that all countries have fair and equitable access to vaccines. To achieve this, it will be important to strengthen research and development capacity, diversify supply chains, and bolster collaboration between countries and between public and private research centers to enhance development and production capacity of vaccines and also of therapeutics and diagnostics, especially in low middle income countries. The G20 countries are ideally positioned pandemic through establishment and development collaborations that build capacity, share knowledge, and drive innovations. Moreover, the G20 countries can both lead R&D and create linkages with the private sector that will facilitate rapid scale-up of the manufacturing in response to the next threat to the global community. Building a coalition across the G20 can strengthen the capacity of the global community to prepare for the next pandemic. In this year's presidency, Indonesia offers an initiative to bolster global capacity through partnerships and investments across the G20 countries with a focus on bringing the 5 sponsoring countries of this initiative, which are Argentina, Brazil, India, South Africa, and Indonesia, into close partnership and collaboration that will directly address the gaps in global capacity. These strategically located countries' research and development and manufacturing capacity hubs can ensure adequate preparation for the next pandemic for both their populations and the LMIC's countries in each of their orbits. We are happy to share that from the continuous work in this agenda, many countries acknowledge the existence of ongoing partnerships and collaborating networks for vaccine, therapeutic and diagnostic research and manufacturing. They also emphasize the importance of avoiding duplication through connecting to and building upon these initiatives while addressing gaps and lessons learned from that experience. We also highlighted the importance of strengthening multi-regional research and development hubs as a critical part of technology, knowledge, and data sharing strategy in pandemic preparedness efforts. Support of international organizations is vital in enhancing research and manufacturing capacities during the pandemic. It is imperative to keep WHO's central coordinating role, and international organizations have established platforms and networks that enable faster access to hot commodities for pandemics. These existing platforms and networks would serve as foundation to build a more connected global platform and to ensure democratization of knowledge. We hope the discussion held today may provide stronger support on expanding research and manufacturing capacity of health commodities, including phytopharmaceuticals, that may contribute to a better global health architecture. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Roy Himawan. I would like to move to our next speaker, who will be bringing a keynote speech. Dr. Andalusia Rizka Andalusia, the Director General of Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices from the Ministry of Health. She'll be bringing the keynote speech from His Excellency Budi Gunadi Sadikin, Ministry of Health of the Republic of Indonesia. Dr. Andalusia, the screen is yours.
Thank you, and very good morning to all the participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Honorable Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, Lead of T20, distinguished speaker, participant, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let us offer praise to and gratitude to God Almighty, only because by His grace, we can all gather here in condition to attend the T20 Indonesia Summit 2022 at venue or virtual. My appreciation to the committee for holding this event today. Distinguished participants, herbal medicine as a part of traditional and complementary medicine is an important and often underestimated health resource with many applications, especially in the prevention and management of lifestyle-related chronic disease and in meeting the health needs of aging population. Many countries are seeking to expand coverage of essential health services at a time when consumer expectations for care are rising, costs are soaring, and most budgets are either stagnant or being reduced. Given the unique health challenges of the 21st century, interest in TCM is undergoing a revival. Herbal medicine have increasingly become the focus of researchers and industry in the world, including for the G20 countries. At the moment, more and more countries are recognizing the role of herbal medicine in their national health system. In People's Republic of China, the use of herbal medicine is already well established for health purposes. In Japan, 60 to 70% herbal medicine has prescribed. As reported from WHO Region Office for the America, Chile, and Colombia, more than 40% population have using traditional medicine. Also in developed countries as France, Canada, UK, and US, more than 40% the population will use herbal medicine. However, the use of herbal medicine in healthcare setting is still challenging. According to WHO Global Report on Traditional and Complementary Medicine, lack of research data was reported as the top difficulties. The next two top difficulties were lack of financial support for research on TCM and lack of mechanism to monitor safety of TCM products, including herbal medicine. Under WHO mentioned the lack of sustained as political will, a legal framework, capacity to monitor safety of TCM practice, capacity to monitor safety of TCM products, referral mechanism between TCM and conventional medicinal practitioner, information system and analysis of TCM, and integration of TCM into health system. This should not slow down the effort to maximize the potential of herbal product, but we should see this as an opportunity of our productive collaboration in this area. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia, with about 143 million hectares of tropical forest, is estimated to have 28,000 plant species and in home of 80% of the world's medicinal plants. Based on medicinal plants and jamu research held by Health Policy Agency, Ministry of Health on 2017, 2,800 species of medicinal plants have been identified and 32,000 traditional medicine ingredients have been utilized. Also, Indonesia, with 270 million population with coverage JKN or health insurance, 82.3% remain as an emerging major player in green pharmacy with herbal medicine products. In the pandemic enters in its third year, breakthrough, all countries need the same equities to medical countermeasures. As G20 presidency, Indonesia brings priority issue about global health architecture, and as one of the Indonesia where diversity of our natural resources provides potential strength to be fully utilized on our effort to provide a resilient healthcare. To achieve that, in this year, Ministry of Health is starting to implement health system transformation, which consists of 6 pillars. First pillar is primary care transformation. Second pillar is secondary care transformation. Third pillar is the health system resilience transformation. Fourth pillar is health financing transformation. Fifth pillar is health talent transformation. And sixth pillar is health technology transformation. Resilience of the pharmaceutical sector is part of health system resilience transformation. There are 4 pillars of pharmaceutical resilience we will develop, which are chemical active pharmaceutical ingredients, vaccine, biopharmaceutical, and natural. This transformation agenda reflects Ministry of Health support on the development and use of herbal medicine in healthcare. In the development side, we encourage research development up to handling the post-harvest raw material to ensure standardized quality of herbal material to use in the production. Working together with related ministries, we align the effort to support small and medium enterprises that works in herbal products to develop their business and expand their market. In the demand side, Ministry of Health encourages the use of herbal medicine, a part of health transformation agenda, and provides healthcare with the very first of Indonesia phytopharmaceutical formulary, enacted and launched in the first semester this year. As a support for the provision on phytopharmaceutical, government provides special allocated funds that might be used by local government to equip their healthcare facilities with phytopharmaceutical products, referring to the mentioned formulary. And to provide assurance quality, Ministry is updating the National Herbal Pharmacopoeia and working closely with Indonesia FDA on supervision of herbal product in the market. We believe this concentrated action will bring the utilization of green pharmacy and provide sustainable resource in our healthcare setting. Ladies and gentlemen, ensuring a healthy life and improving the welfare of all population of all ages is one of the Sustainable Development Goals vision that remain in the heart of Ministry of Health transformation agenda. In order to fulfill the SDGs vision, which is also in line with President's vision to create a healthy, productive, independent, and health equitable society, we believe there should be more collaborative action between stakeholders, especially on providing a resilient healthcare to our people. In this setting, I underline the important part of green pharmacy and encourage all participants to seek possibilities and provide sustainable recommendations for government and stakeholders on optimizing green pharmacy's role in supporting global health architecture. Thank you very much for your attention. May God Almighty blessing this meeting, and I hope you will have a fruitful agenda today. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Andalusia, Rizka Andalusia, for the very encouraging keynote speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move into a panel discussion. But before that, allow me to thank our speakers today for your words of encouragement and for sharing with us the much needed information. We are moving into the panel discussion, and we will take a half-a-minute session here for the transition to the panel discussion before I read out the biodata of all our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be your moderator today for the panel discussion. Again, my name is Shanti Shamdasani. I am the co-chair for T20 for Global Health Security and COVID-19. I'm also the founder and CEO for ASEAN International Advocacy and Consultancy. So as you can see on the screen, my biodata, I don't think so I'll have to read in much detail. But in short, I have got 20 years of experience in healthcare and both working in 5 countries, and also a graduate from Harvard on digital transformation technology. I will let the rest of the biodata be on the screen for you to lead. This morning, we have 3 panelists, and I'm going to go through one by one. I'd like to start with Dr. Raymond Chandra Winata. He's a researcher of various types of drugs ranging from chemical to biologic, and the founder of Indonesian original modern medicine, which is called OMAI. And he took the first place in the ranks of 100 world scientists in the field of medicinal and health for the territory of Indonesia. Since 2005, Dr. Raymond Chandra Winata has been conducting extensive research on OMAI, which is made from natural raw materials indigenous to Indonesia, in collaboration with experts from the DEXA Group Research House, DEXA Laboratories of Biomolecular Sciences, DLBS. The study has been recognized with 64 patents in Indonesia and overseas. Many of his creations have been clinically examined and marked in various world regions. He work at DEXA and at Majaya involves wide range of cutting-edge molecular pharmacology approaches involving several omics systems such as genomics, proteomics, and metabolomics. Our next speaker is Secretary Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha. He's from the Secretary of Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. He's a Padma Shri awardee. Dr. Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha is an Ayurvedic doctor, served as the Vice Chancellor of Jamnagar-based Gujarat Ayurveda University during 2013 to 2016. He was appointed as Secretary of Ministry of Ayush in the Government of India in July of 2017. He did his doctorate in Ayurveda medicine from Gujarat Ayurveda in 1991. He has bagged many laurels and distinctions, Global Ayurveda Physician Award in 2007, Ayurveda Ratna Award in 2008, and Padma Shri Award for Medicine in 2015, to name a few. He has authored 2 books, Concept of Atva Binivesha in Ayurveda. Excuse for my pronunciation for that, but it's a bit difficult. I think it's Atatva Binivesha in Ayurveda, which discusses minor psychiatric disorders within Ayurveda parameters, and another one, A Beginner Guide to Ayurveda, which details day-to-day life practices to remain healthy. Our next panelist will be Mr. Ignatius Warsito. He is the Director General for Chemical, Pharmaceutical, Textile from the Ministry of Indonesia. Mr. Ignatius Warsito previously served as Ministry Expert Staff for Industrial Region Development. He also served as Director for Cement, Ceramic, and Processing of Non-Metal Material Industry, Director of Regional Industry Development of Java and Bali region, and Director of Electronics and Advanced Technology Industry, as well as Industrial Attaché for Japan. He holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from Diponegoro University and an MBA from Cleveland State University. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ignatius have to leave the forum, so I'm going to start this panel discussion with Mr. Ignatius because he have got some other appointment. Mr. Ignatius, you have 7 to 10 minutes to share with us your observations and your comments on green pharmacy's role in Indonesia. The screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Santi. Very, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen here. That's my colleague here, Dr. Raymond, Mr. Fatia, there's a panelist together here. I'm so glad and appreciate for the join the panelists here, because when I hear from this morning that the mentioned Professor Bang Projo, and then as well as our colleague ADG, Ibu Rizka, and then another special, because this is relatively new for my the duty here as GG for the chemical, pharmaceutical, and textile. It is very, very important when we talking about the green parametrical, because that is to me as a background chemical engineering, of course that is for the point of view that is basically medicine actually developed from the chemical base, but for the transformation how to make all the green, this is very important in terms of the sustainability of the health. That is a point why we are here as a Ministry of Industry, of course, very support for the activity and then the concept which the Dr. Ramon proposed. The concept of green finance is very, very good. The ecosystem will be built as different perspective. Of course, we would like to build as the pentahelix. That is how to like the concept ABG is academic, government, and business, as well how to communicate and the media will blend together to work together, and then how to bring via and the green parametric. As the my experience and how to handle the industrial park, we are cooperate with UNIDO as well to develop this mean eco-industrial park. That look like same, the concept how to make the productivity, efficiency about that production. As well, today and next, I want to bring the concept about the green chemical. Green chemistry is also from UNIDO's mentioned is also very important. So that the third place, as we talking about the green parametric trend, the Dr. Raman said, this is not only how to transformation from the chemical to herbal or the chemical for the other resources, but how to make all the material could be as natural, back to natural. That is mean how to make develop for production. Uh, Frankly speaking, Indonesia now is combined with based on chemical medicine as well as the herbal medicine. But medicinal industry would like to propose to make roadmap where we are going to be to Indonesia, because it's very important for everybody from the supply side to demand side, how to from upstream to downstream, to make the collaboration between the economical aspect, environmental aspect, and social aspect. So that for the three aspects will be joined together and then to make a green parametric system. That is what I would like to share with you all out here, because that is start from the concept first, and then the second year and the third year we like to how to make action plan, who make where and how will happen in the Indonesia. It is very important to that the strengthen the rule of the G20 to navigate the current global dynamic. Because Indonesia is nation like India also have a lot of resources to make the transformation to green parametric. So that, Ms. Santi, I think that is my view, because this, I'm so sorry because that is my start of view. That I can hear from the Dr. Rahman and Bajia, the experience in Indonesia government, what the government rule to build the green parametric. That is my point why I really concerned to join that event. And then Ministry of Industry really support to build the green parametric. If we are now recovery together, recovery stronger. That is point why we are work together in the point. Thank you very much again. I'm so sorry because I have a limited time. I have a schedule, and then please back to Mrs. Santi.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Ignatius Warcito. We are cognizant of your busy schedule, so if you could stay with us for a little while until the question and answer session, that would be great. But otherwise, we understand if you have other appointments. Thank you for that. I'd like to move next to our second panelist. Is that Secretary Dr. Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha, Secretary of the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. Dr. Vaidya, 7 to 10 minutes. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Shanti, and thanks for inviting me. Distinguished speakers, panelists, guests, ladies and gentlemen. I feel extremely delighted to be a part of this policy dialogue on green pharmacy's role in supporting global health architecture. On behalf of Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, I extend my sincere appreciation to the organizers behind this great event. It is really great to see the multi-stakeholders on a single platform to explore on the potential of green pharmacy, traditional medicine, especially herbal plants, in supporting global health systems. India has a very long, safe, and continuous usage of many herbal drugs in the officially recognized traditional healthcare systems like Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, and Sova Rigpa, and all traditional medicines. Millions of Indians use herbal drugs regularly as spices, home remedies, health foods, as well as over-the-counter medicine, or also as drugs prescribed in the non-allopathic systems, which is regulated by Government of India. The Indian subcontinent is a vast repository of medicinal plants that are used in traditional medical treatments. The medicines in the traditional systems are derived from herbs, minerals, and organic matter, while for the preparation of herbal drugs, only medicinal plants are used. Use of plants as a source of medicine has been an ancient practice and is an important component of the healthcare system in India. India is the largest producer of medicinal plants. In India, around 20,000 medicinal plants have been recorded. Traditional practitioners use 7,000 to 7,500 plants for curing different diseases and treatments. Around 25,000 effective plant-based formulations are used in traditional and folk medicines. Herbal medical system is a comprehensive medical system which has embarked on non-conventional modern medicines, particularly on herbal sources, as a low-cost treatment for chronic diseases, microbial resistances, etc. The herbal medical system is effective with almost no side effects, unlike many other synthetic drugs. Also, the huge epidemiological transition towards increased incidence of non-communicable diseases could be effectively dealt by the herbal medical system, herbal medicinal system. WHO in 2013 has corroborated the argument by reckoning the efficacy of the alternative system in dealing with non-communicable diseases. These factors explain the reasons for which the herbal medicinal sector is expanding at the rate of 7.6% despite continuation of recession for nearly 1.5 decades. It may be noted that global output, that is real GDP, was growing at the rate of 2.8% during the same period. That is the sources sourced by the World Bank 2021 data. According to RIS FITM study, RIS is a policy institute in India, and RIS DG will be the T20 chairman during India G20 presidency. The study conducted by RIS on Ayush market size, we revealed that the global market size of the herbal sector, which was estimated at US dollar $657.5 billion in 2020, it is likely to touch US dollar $746.9 billion by 2022. As the sector is expanding very fast across the globe, there are numerous opportunities existing in number of sectors within the herbal medicinal industry and green pharmacy. Evidence-based research in traditional medicine and green pharmacy is receiving larger acceptance in India and Indonesia and around the globe. Traditional medicine practices that are indigenous to specific regions and cultures around the world are also considered to be largely under-investigated or under-reported. The global acceptance of the traditional complementary medicine as a preferred choice of healthcare is evidenced by the substantial global prevalence of use. The inclusion of traditional medicine into the ICD-11, this presents an opportunity for traditional complementary medicine to become an integral part of global healthcare in the UN member states and beyond. Therefore, it is critical to gather evidence that informs the development and execution of rigorous scientific research and regulatory processes that substantially facilitates the effective and appropriate integration of complementary medicine and green pharmacy into healthcare around the world. The whole world has recognized the importance of traditional medicine. We have witnessed a significant shift in health-seeking approach of people towards well-being during the pandemic period. In India, with the support of universities, laboratories, hospitals, we were able to conduct more than 150 studies on medicinal plants and its effects on COVID-19. Which includes multi-centered randomized trials, observational large-scale studies, preclinical and mechanistic studies, which which uh, which resulted into 75 plus publications in high impact journals and preprints. 2 herbal medicines, plant-based medicines were included in National Clinical Management Protocol for COVID-19, and they have significantly contributed for COVID management in India. Traditional Ayush healthcare systems have enough potential and possibilities to be employed both for prevention and treatment of emerging and re-emerging infectious as well as non-communicable diseases. WHO has recommended mainstreaming of complementary and traditional system of medicine as an affordable and culturally acceptable way towards achieving universal health coverage in its pursuance of attainment of USC by 2030. Government of India has taken significant decisions to improve access to the quality yet affordable healthcare. I would like to mention that recently in the year 2021, WHO has decided to establish WHO Center for Traditional Medicine in India, which is now being established at Jamnagar in Gujarat state of India. India and Indonesia is having a good network of bilateral communications and cooperation. An MOU on cooperation in the field of green pharmacy, traditional medicine is under consideration. I hope for better collaborations in future as well. I wish the event all success and hope for fruitful deliberations. Namaste and thank you so much. Regards.
Thank you for that, Dr. Vaidya. I think you rightfully say that Indonesia and India have a lot of potential for collaboration moving forward. And especially next year, India is holding the presidency for G20. So we will certainly be reaching out to you to discuss this more. But before that, let me move to our next panelist, Dr. Raymond Chandravinata. He's the biomolecular expert from DEXA Group. Dr. Raymond, 7 to 10 minutes, the screen is yours.
Yes, thank you, Bushanti Shamdashani. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, completing to what the two panelists has already been alluded to you, I would suggest that we talk about what we have also here in Indonesia. So my talk will be towards the glory of Indonesian modern herbal drugs, herbal medicine, what we call OMAI in Indonesia. So before we talk OMAI, Indonesia, just like India, have Ayurveda and some other Unani medicine and so on. We have the tradition of Jamu. Jamu is actually very, very good in terms of promotion, in terms of the prevention of health, prevention of diseases and so on. And it's been used by over generational. In fact, there's a Western lady called Susan Jean Beers, who have already documented many of the use of jamu in the Indonesian population and also all over the world as ancient Indonesian art of herbal healing. Now here is the effect that we found here last year, even in December 2021, Nikkei Asia publication, a good publication from Japan, has already said that the jamu, Indonesian jamu, has starting to get trendy all over the world. It says the smelly, tastes weird, but yet it's trendy. In fact, Nikkei Asia showed that the sales of this jamu is going up and up and up, approaching to $1 billion at this moment. Now, but if you're talking about the use of traditional medicine in the hands of physicians, here in Indonesia, the allopathic physicians are the one who actually was supposed to prescribe also this herbal green pharmacy. Many of them is actually having still some suspicions because of some of the myth of the traditional medicine, having little no efficacy, absences of evidences, they don't have the correct diagnosis, or even they don't know the proper dosage to give to the patients and so on. So many of them are very uncomfortable prescribing in the mainstream medical setting in their facility. This is something that we need to combat. This is something that we need to make sure that the physicians do understand the importance, not only for the environment, but also for the health, that the green pharmacy, phytopharmaceutical product can also help the patient's health in general. So in the future, our model for the green pharmacy is actually an integrative medicine. So one can prescribe conventional medicine, just like the drugs I prescribe at this moment. They can also prescribe lifestyle medicine with the yoga, nutrition, sleep, stress, education, and so on, and so on. But also, do not forget that we also have green pharmacy, which also included in the complementary therapies. Now, the three areas, the three parameters will comprise the integrative medicine, which will make people not only stronger, but they are healthier, even though they have some diseases, but they can carry out the disease with a very good quality lifestyle. And if they if they prescribe integrative medicine rather than only curative medicine, human life will be much better, quality of life will be much higher. Now, in order to do that, again, we do not forget, and we keep saying to our doctors, pharmacists, green pharmacy is very important, especially phytopharmaca. Here we also not only benefiting the patients all over the world, in Indonesia, anywhere, but also the growers. Do not remember that these are part of the healthcare sector now, because they provide us with raw material for the green pharmaceutical product. Now, it is sad to say here in Indonesia, we have a lot of jamu, but again, the green pharmacy in terms of phytopharmaca, we have only 24. And this 24 is actually containing only like 7 to 8 molecules. We need to increase this so that can be used by different physicians all over Indonesia. Now, if you look into the statistics, and this is coming from the Kementerian Kesehatan, my apology for this is in Indonesia, this is actually the result of the research by the Kementerian Kesehatan, which is the Department of Health in 2019. Of all the hospital type B, C, and D, there are only 1.2% to 3% prescribing the green pharmacy product. Only 1.2% to 3% of the doctors of the prescription are belonging to the help coming from the natural product like green pharmacy. And if you look at the clinic, again, it's even lower. If this is going to a higher STB, which is 5%, here is 1.3%. Is the recept, is the prescription for green pharmacy products. So this is very sad for us in Indonesia because we have so much biodiversity and yet it's not being appreciated to the highest level in which it needs to be appreciated. So this is something we need to work on. So even though we say green pharmacy and the natural product, yet in practicality, Indonesia with the big biodiversity only prescribe 1 to 3 at the latest is 3% of all prescription. This is something that we need to work on. We need to change to increase the number of prescription in the hands of the doctor and the pharmacist to the benefit of the patients. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we need to have evidence. Like Dr. Fedia just alluded, the randomized control trial, systematic analysis, very important for the doctors to believe, for the doctors to subscribe the prescription of this green pharmacy product. Now, I'll give you an example. This is actually bark of the cinnamon leaves. This is bark of the tree coming from Mount Kerinci, which is a peak in the on the west of Sumatra here. And we have screened many of this cinnamon cinnamon basically, and all over Indonesia, also from Sri Lanka. We found out for our purpose, the Mount Kerinci one is actually suitable for the drugs. For example, we can make that drug, which is called Redacid now, for hyperacidity, also mucosal protection. And it's not inferior to the imported, to the chemical product like omeprazole to pantoprazole in terms of increasing the pH of the gaster, because when you have a lot of hyperacidity, the gaster actually lowers the pH. We need to increase it. And this natural product, cinnamon, is not inferior. In fact, it is superior to the drug that's been taken by many people, omeprazole. So also this is an example of what we did in the clinical trial. Another clinical trial, we go head-to-head, directly head-to-head. The chemical product like omeprazole versus biodiversity green pharmacy product like Redacid. And again, look at the result. The green pharmacy product, Redacid, is not inferior. In fact, it is a little bit more superior to the imported chemical item. So this is just an example. This is only one because of the time. I cannot show many data which we have. We have like 12 to 15 products our clinical trial has gone through publication and so on. But this is an example of how a good green pharmacy product, great design, can also replace the chemical product, which actually decreases the amount of importation, but also friendly to the environment, as we spoke about. Now, earlier, Ibu Rizka, Dr. Rizka has already alluded that we have the governmental national formulary, but still only have 5 phytopharmaca in there. We need to increase to 20 to 30 phytopharmaca. Yet, in order to make phytopharmaca, we need a lot of commitment in terms of development, as well as from the regulator, making it easy to register phytopharmaca so that we can have more than only 5. That this is again multi-departmental, so that everyone work together to make sure that the green pharmacy being used not only 1.3% of the prescription, not only 3%, but we need to increase up to 40%, even 50% of prescription in Indonesia in the future. That said, our group, DESA group, has already been producing phytopharmaca since 2011. In fact, the first phytopharmaca is Timuno. It was given 2005. But subsequently, 2011, we start making more and more phytopharmaca. And yet, when we look into the prescription of 1.3% in Indonesia, the drug that we produce from the green pharmacy is not being in Indonesia, but lo and behold, it is highly regarded in many other countries. For example, in surrounding countries, in Philippines, in Vietnam, in everywhere, the doctors have been prescribing our phytopharmaceutical product, green pharmacy from Indonesia, which not been prescribed by Indonesian physician. This is something that puzzled us, but yet this is the reality that we need to work on together, just to make sure that everyone, every physician, every pharmacist, they really know the use of the green pharmacy, they use it in the prescription basis, and we all be happy, but from the farmers to the manufacturing to the patients. Because green pharmacy saves lives, it cures diseases, increases the quality of life. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention.
Thank you for that, Dr. Raymond. I think, point well taken. One thing I would like to, and we will move into the, question and answer session, but one thing came out very clear to you is that, you have done head-to-head clinical trials and the quality is no less, which I think we all agree in this forum. And I'd like to get into a bit of a question and answer session. We have a few questions from online and also from the floor. Is Mr. Ignatius still here? If you're here, sir, I would like to ask one question which also came from the floor. This question is for Mr. Ignatius. Are you still here? Okay, I think he's left. So I have a question for Mr. Waidya. Mr. Waidya, you did mention about the bilateral potential between Indonesia and India. And I just would like to also understand from you, how do you think this bilateral potential can be materialized, whether it's working from one university in India, working with a university in Indonesia, or would you look more into B2B, where the Ayurveda producers, and Patanjali is quite big in India now, and they're doing more and more investments. But what are your thoughts in terms of really the collaboration between India and Indonesia?
Thank you, Shanti, for asking this question. Actually, since some time, Government of India and Government of Indonesia is working together to arrive at a MOU of country to country. And this is being visualized between the Department of Pharmacy and Medical Devices, Ministry of Health, Indonesia, and Pharmacopoeia Commission of Indian Medicine, Government of India. So, for example, for the green pharmacy, we have the pharmacopoeial standards of more than 700 plants. And we know that Indonesia is second biggest country of which is having biodiversity, And India in Southeast Asia also is having very big biodiversity of plants. We have common cultural heritage, and because of this, there is a great potential of having a B2B association or university to university association. I would like to mention that one of our institute under Ministry of Ayush has also a bilateral tie-up with one of the University of Indonesia for the establishment of a chair of Ayurveda in the country of Indonesia in a university. So there are so many openings and possibilities, and since science is growing at a very fast pace with lot of evidences, if Indonesia and India come together in the area of green pharmacy and traditional medicine, I think we can together contribute a lot to the globe. Thank you.
Thank you for that. The same question maybe for Dr. Raymond, because I think this goes both ways. This goes to India and also Indonesia. What are your thoughts, Dr. Raymond? Would a academician, university to university collaboration be more impactful in terms of exploring the potential of green pharmacy, or would you look at it in terms of business to business, especially in the research area, because you have done so much research which also compares head to head with other chemical-based medication, and there's huge potential of biodiversity. Where do you think India and Indonesia could find that one niche where it's going to bring huge impact?
Thank you, Bushanti. I think it's a great question. Now, I think the focus for Indonesia, also for India, is actually on the term of research as how do we increase the evidence for this herbal medicine, green pharmacy product from Indonesia or from India alike? Obviously, in terms of the collaboration in research, it should be not on the preclinical, but only on the clinical research. That way, we will have evidence so that the Ayurveda medicine will have more clinical impact by the prescriber. So will be also our green pharmacy product in terms of the use of by the physicians. That to say, the number of our product which come through clinical trial in Indonesia is not too many. Maybe our DEXA products are the only ones with a common few more from other investigator players in this area. But we need to increase the number of clinical trials done in Indonesia on the green pharmacy products. Obviously, otherwise it will not be understood and being used by the physicians as one of the highly regarded medicine, not only replacing the chemical product, but also by itself because of the use traditionally been used by many people. That system is actually working by itself. Now they work together, whether it's academia to academia or academia to business needs to be done and at high level in Indonesia, increasing the number of phytopharmaceutical, increasing the number of green pharmacy products.
Thank you, Dr. Raymond. Dr. Vaidya, another question which we have here. Indonesia will be holding presidency for G20 next year. India would be holding the presidency for G20 next year. Two questions. Will green pharmacy be a part, or Ayurveda be a part of the agenda of G20? Because we know that India holds a lot of potential there. That's question number one. Question number two, how do you think India will drive green pharmacy during G20 presidency in 2023? So two questions. Will green pharmacy be a part of India G20 presidency, and how will India drive it?
Thank you for this question. Actually, this is very important question. We all know that after Indonesia presidency, India will have G20 presidency, and then there is a similar traditions where the medicinal plants are being used is in Brazil and in South Africa, which will be future presidency of G20. So there is a continuum of this thought process. So first of all, let me appreciate and compliment the government of Indonesia for holding this specific session on green pharmacy and traditional medicine under T20. And we are committed in India that we will take this forward of the initiative of Indonesia further under the India's G20 presidency. This is my first statement. What specific question was asked. So Ayurveda and traditional medicine and green pharmacy will be taken forward under the G20 presidency in India in 2023. What I would suggest and request the T20 forum under the G20 presidency of Indonesia, that this forum may be, considered to recommend creating a forum for traditional medicine and green pharmacy under G20, so that we take this, global good to the community of G20 people, because we all know, like Dr. Raymond also mentioned, there is a great potential of integrative medicine. There is a great potential of evidence-based green pharmacy. So India is also committed and doing a lot of clinical randomized trials and generating high evidences, not just preclinical, but in addition to preclinical and safety studies and mechanistic studies, we have, until recently, we have completed more than 700 randomized trials in different plant-based products of Ayurveda. So it's huge. So what I am trying to convey is that together, Indonesia and India can create a very good ecosystem. So firstly, it starts in under G20 presidency of Indonesia, and India is committed to take it forward. And then we have, next countries in line is South Africa and Brazil, and they also have a great tradition of green pharmacy. So this can be a global good for the people of these G20 countries. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Vaidya. Another question regarding universities and studies. I think this is a very interesting question, because while we have the biodiversity, we have the opportunity and the potential, we see there is still lacking within our universities and within our educational system in terms of teaching green pharmacy, in terms of really exploring the benefits of green pharmacies. Do you think, if you can share, Dr. Vaidya, an additional question to you, if you can share in India, is medicine a part, or is if a person gets into a medical doctor university, is Ayurveda a part of their syllabus and curriculum? Do they teach traditional medicine as well, or it's more into the scientific side of it? That's one. The other one is, are you or is the government encouraging universities all over India to actually adopt Ayurveda as part of the focus area of studies? So there are two questions. Does medical students get exposed to Ayurveda studies? And the second question is this becoming an increasingly important syllabus within the universities of India?
Thank you so much for these two questions. First question is about the medical students are getting exposure of Ayurveda. Yes, recently National Medical Commission, which is the regulatory body of the medical education in India, have resolved to introduce yoga and Ayurveda into the medical curricula. So yoga is across all medical education is already introduced, and Ayurveda is being offered as an elective to the medical students. So if they can opt, they have to earn the credit, and for that credit, one of the options is Ayurveda. But parallelly, I would like to mention that India has a system where the Ayurveda is recognized as a system of medicine and healthcare, and graduates and postgraduates and PhDs who is specialized in Ayurveda like me. I am MD in Ayurveda. So university level education is being offered, and every year there are 50,000 plus students are getting enrolled into Ayurveda. So it's like modern medical system, conventional health system. Ayurveda is also having university level education being offered, and there are 450 such colleges who is offering this education to the people of India. Second question was, it's also very interesting that like I would like to cite the yesterday's my interaction with the other secretaries of the science departments of our country. I had an interaction, informal interaction with Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, and Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. All these are the science departments who is responsible for conducting researches in our country, and we all together resolved that we will create an ecosystem of research in the area of Ayurveda and other traditional medicine system across the country and create a consortium. So in universities also, we have high-end organizations like IITs and different universities, medical universities, and All India Institute of Ayurveda, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. All these organizations are now into the research into integrative medicine. For example, last week only, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, we have 22 in different states. They are the premier apex institutes of medical education research, and they are having a lot of contribution into the area of research in medical field. They have last week only decided to start Department of Integrative Medicine, where Ayurveda will be incorporated as a formal part of their service delivery and research. So there will be professor and associate professor in a full-fledged department of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine in all aims. So a lot of things are happening. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Vaidya. I think very, very informative and very useful. With this, I think we would like to end. Before we end, maybe I'll give Dr. Raymond, if you have one burning comments to make. You have like 2 minutes before we close. Do you have any additional comments, Dr. Raymond?
Yes, we would like to thank you, the organizer of this T20. This green pharmacy is a burning question for all of us. I think we need to be cognizant and also understand that this green pharmacy not only benefits economically, but also the health for all Indonesians. If we use more of the green pharmacy like our model countries, China and India, I think our citizens, our patients will be much healthier, because green pharmacy not only promotes and also prevent, but it cures, also heals diseases. So we need to have more research, like you said, Ms. Ibu Shanti, but also the use of it also is also important, not only making it in the herbal store, but also in the hand of physicians and in the hospital. With that, I thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Dr. Raymond. I think with that we conclude this panel discussion. Quite a vibrant discussion, but one thing, the three things which we could take away from this panel discussion is that Indonesia and India both share a huge amount of biodiversity. It is still underexplored. And the second point is that there is a huge opportunity, a large opportunity to actually collaborate between the two countries, and not just between Indonesia and India, maybe even other countries, because still the clinical research that the DEXA group have conducted on the green pharmacy is still at the very initial stage, and there is still huge potential to be explored. Like what Dr. Vaidya said, there's 700 clinical research being conducted, and in India is moving at a very fast pace. And the third takeaway that we can actually take from here is that in 2023, India will be putting green pharmacy as main agenda, as part of the focus agenda within the G20. And it is notably so because the G20 governments, the G20 countries, if you look at the list of the G20 countries, they have huge resources of biodiversity. And this is not just profitable for Indonesia or India, but this is also could be profitable and impactful for all the G20 countries. So with that, again, thank you very much, Dr. Raymond and Dr. Vaidya. Before we close, I would like to invite Professor Hasbullah Tabrani, the co-chair for T20 TF6 for global health security and COVID-19 to give us his closing remarks. Professor Tabrani, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ibu Santi, Pak Raymond, Pak Vidya, and all of you who are attending this session through internet. I first would like to appreciate Ibu Santi for organizing this session. It is maybe not very interesting for some, but the green pharmacy has a lot of potential for the futures. The green pharmacy also intertwined with the others, our T20, which is climate change and green world, green planet, whatever we call it, that we know that our planet is suffering from this global warming. We observed a lot of news and evidence, dry, flooding, and so on. Then also we need to make it greener planet. The green pharmacy, if we can mobilize more, will also contribute to that in addition to the health effect. However, I think on this issue, we have a lot of challenge, huge challenge. First, it's been discussed that evidence-based need to be demonstrated. And I think India provide a good lesson with a lot of research. Indonesia is also under DEXA is doing a lot of research on this to purify or to observe more of the potential of various diversities of our plants. India, Brazil with large forests, large lands also having a lot of potential. But how do we prove that this green pharmacy or phytopharmaca or whatever medicine that we develop from plants must be developed, proven by research? In the past, for example, we know that malaria is killed by quinine, which is from the in Indonesia we call it kina. Yeah, it is a plant. Yeah, well, so many hundreds of thousands, maybe millions plants, big or small, that are available in this continent, need to be explored, need to be researched, to studies the evidence. In this case, I think we, T20, should recommend to all G20 to provide rooms for this research and to provide funding for the research by public or the private institution. That will benefit in the future. They might not be there, we might not see at this time, but if we have adequate funding, adequate researchers to do more research on this, and there are still a lot of diseases that are not treated at this time, for cancer, for example, we might have some benefit in the future. In addition to that, after the studies, we need to do effective public communication. Often consumption, business influenced by the mindset of people. If the people believe that this particular vegetable, particular seed has a good health impact, then they buy it. How we communicate with that. This is our challenge, and hopefully we can recommend to the G20 leadership 2 months from now here in Bali, we might have a good fortune in the future. Good for the people, good for the business, good for the farmer, good for the professional. Hopefully, India can follow through, continue to discuss this issue. Thank you very much for all of you who have been contributing in this session. Thank you, Basanti and all.
Thank you, Prof. Hasbullah Tabrani. With that, we end today's session. I would like again to extend our gratefulness to all the speakers, all the panelists, and those joining us online. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Ms. Fadia.
Thank you, Shanti.